we never came up with like an intro or like even really. I guess still BoLS Lounge, but
no, we sure didn't.
I
mean,
feel
maybe
like...
this is the intro. Maybe Matt, what if we figure out the intro to this segment forever, and then like in 5 years when we are still doing this and have been doing this for 5 years, we're like, man, we really ought to sit down and figure out the intro. And it's a bit that never, well, it gets old, but then it gets so old that it comes back around, kind of like Peter Griffin going.
I really don't.
Welcome everyone to the BoLS Lounge, or whatever we end up calling this show. I am JR.
And I'm Matt.
And we're going to talk about what's going on in the world of gaming and just, life in general. How you doing? How's it going? What's on your mind? You've been to the doctor lately?
I have. I don't want to get into it. It's all good news.
You got a social security number you'd like to share? Maybe some credit card info for...
I'd have to pull it up.
Yeah.
But what's really important about my credit card is how much I'm using it lately.
Yeah, I know. There's just so much stuff to buy.
What a segue, eh?
Great segue.
Thank you.
So the thing that I want to talk to you about today is all the stuff that you've been using your credit card on, because we are supposed to be saving up to go to PAX Unplugged this coming December.
That's true. If you're going to be at PAX Unplugged, we will be there. We're not going to have like a booth. We're just going to be
we're just going to be wandering around having a good time.
Sure.
No, God, if we have a booth, this is it. I'm done. But we are going to be there, looking for fun. In the literal sense, because it's all about games, and I'm hoping we get to play some.
Yeah.
But I hope that I have time enough to finish the games I already have by the time we go to get more. Because you've been buying RPGs from Steam and the PlayStation Store and other places.
Tangent real quick.
Yeah.
I had a great retirement plan idea.
Which is,
and it won't be good until I'm like 70.
Sure, but
I'm going to stream on Twitch every game that I have in my Steam library. And, that'll be it. And, because that'll be fun and cute if it's, like, an old man playing games from, 50 years ago. If I'm doing it now, it's just weird. Like, no one cares to see a 30-something play games.
You'd
There's
be surprised.
Well, sure, but, I'm just a drop in the bucket.
Right,
but if I'm old, it'll be cute.
Do you know the YouTube channel Food for Dogs?
No.
Oh my God. It's like the sweetest thing ever. It's this I want to say she's Australian, but it's like this lovely, just older lady who the YouTube channel is called Food for Dogs because it started off as a making food for dogs YouTube channel, and then she's just really into gaming and anime and stuff, and she does unboxings and playthroughs and stuff. It's the most wholesome. If you ever just get tired of how awful and just shitty the internet is. I mean, you go to a social media site and it's designed to spike that anxiety to keep you engaged.
True.
It is. I mean, they're outrage machines, folks. Especially now. Thank you very much. $44 billion in the. Not that it wasn't Nazis before.
Meanwhile, in the wholesome side of this conversation, I think I do remember Food for Dogs. I think I might have seen clips on TikTok or what have you. But circling back again, I do think that the discussion here today is going to be about there's a lot of games going on.
Yeah, there are. Baldur's Gate 3 is out. I still haven't beaten it. Have you?
I have not, although, jumping back to last week's, or 2 weeks ago, our conversation, I
think you can say last episode.
Last episode, yeah, I'll get used to that. Last episode, I did not know who Karlach was, and I did not know who Lae'zel was.
Yeah, we discovered you were having some problems.
I was having some problems.
Because you didn't have any
I had no tanks.
You had no beef boys, you didn't have any muscle mommies.
But I want to thank you because if I had gone through life not having ever met Karlach, and I mean my own personal life.
Yes, your own personal life.
I would have lived in an ignorance that I didn't know.
You would have been suffering.
No, that's it. I wouldn't have known. But now that I do know who Karlach is, I realize what a blessing it is to have met her. Like, she is the best character in any game.
I'm telling you, like, go, if you are watching this and you're playing through Baldur's Gate 3 and you're like, Karlach, who?
Yeah.
What? If you're in Act 1, go to the Risen Road. Like,
if you're not in Act 1, start over.
It doesn't matter. You could be 100 hours into your playthrough. If you don't have Karlach in your party, that playthrough is garbage.
Yeah, just scrap it. It's not worth it.
You don't even know. And like, we can't even tell you because words cannot capture how awesome Karlach is. I worry that like her cutie patootie ratio might be like off the charts. It is dangerously high. Karlach's voice actor or Karlach's actor, right? Because that's another thing that we should talk about. Baldur's Gate 3, like, they didn't just get them recording voices in the booth, right? Part of the reason why it looks so amazing, and something that I think people are kind of assuming, well, it's just like the AI. And no, they motion captured like facial performances,
I had no idea.
Movements. If you've ever noticed how Shadowheart, like, her head just kind of wiggles around from time to time, you know, like just when she's saying things or making a haughty little point, like the adorable little cleric of darkness that she is.
She is very adorable.
But like, that's all personal choices by the actor. And so I've started following a lot of the actors on social media, which is a mistake because, you know, outrage. But you can, if you wanted to find clips of like Karlach saying, I hate
it here, but I want to go to Build-A-Bear.
Yes. And then the internet's still good for some things.
Have you seen Gustarian?
No.
Gustarian is very good. Just Google Gustarian. Okay. It's very good. GOOSETARIAN.
Okay.
Gustarian.
Good. Okay.
It's very fun.
I'm into this. Also, if the narrator is. The narrator.
I haven't seen anything from the narrator.
She's great. You can find, like, there's a clip of her reading like everyone's thirst tweets. There's also a clip of her, and there are a lot of thirst tweets. There's also a clip of like outtakes. It's good stuff.
I was talking to a friend. We were just bullshitting about the different characters, and she was saying, like, I don't get why everyone's so hot for Astarion. Like, he's so mean and annoying and just miserable. I was like, well, I mean, I get why some people are hot for him, but he is kind of pretty miserable sometimes. But
did you say that he's a vampire and also kind of a twink?
He is a lot of those things, and it is he is fun. Like, I like his character, but he is a power hungry in a way that is just not my vibe. But
he's so easy. All you have to do is a bad thing, and he's so happy.
Yeah,
he like he's the kind of guy who probably isn't mean, but he's decided his personality is, I'm gonna be the bad boy. You know?
Yeah.
And so, like, he's like, yeah, that's a bad thing. Ooh, we're stealing from this person. That's bad. I like that.
It's definitely a bit of a mask that he puts on, for sure. That is a good point. So...
Oh, no, you yelled at the goblins. I love that.
And we were supposed to be talking about how many games there are going on right now.
Okay, so we're still trying to play Baldur's Gate 3 video game industry. But then, since that's happened, Armored Core 6 has come out, which is incredible and amazing. Starfield has come out and is incredible and amazing, and there's so much more stuff in the just coming in, and they're like, it's not like, oh, this is a 20-hour game you're done. Well, Armored Core 6 is kind of that.
I've heard it's like 15-ish somewhere.
I guess it depends on how good you are.
Sure.
For me, it's like a 45-hour game at least. But
I have not been playing Armored Core, but I watch streamers who do, and it's really fun because it's like any From Software game. It's going to have like that difficulty curve, but for whatever reason, I have seen streamers who are just like blazing through it, and they're not like hardcore gamers or anything, and I have seen hardcore gamers like really struggling with it, and I cannot fathom why.
I can tell you why. Because the people who are hardcore gamers and who approach this game are probably coming at it from like, I totally own Dark Souls, you know, like
right.
I'm the best. Bloodborne, I know what to I know what to do. Armored Core doesn't care for that. Armored Core thinks that the idea of having one build is trash, and it's part of what makes it so exciting. So in Armored Core, spoilers, I guess, kind of. You pilot a robot and you can get robot parts for your robot.
Yeah.
If that's a spoiler, I'm sorry.
Right. Oh, there's equipment in an RPG? Weird.
I mean, we probably should have like a safe space, which I guess will be the comments. So you can talk about it in the comments. We don't mind, actually. If you're triggered, I'm legitimately sorry. But you can buy different parts for your Armored Core in Armored Core 6. But also, so okay, you know how like in say something like Baldur's Gate 3, you buy a magic item from an NPC, right? Yeah. Something like a Skyrim, right? You buy a magic sword that's like 15,000 gold, right? Because it does a lot of damage. And then you're like, you know what? Buyer's remorse. Right, why don't you take it back? How much you gonna get?
A fifth or whatever.
Yeah, like basically nothing, right? Even if you just bought it and didn't leave the store, if you close the chat window, that's it. Not so in Armored Core 6, my friends.
How's that?
Anything you buy from the Armored Core 6, like the parts store, you can sell back for the full price. So you can, like your only limit is the amount of total money that you have at one time. And then eventually you can just buy all the stuff
So it's
anyway.
it's like respecing your equipment.
Yes. And in fact, that is the way to play the game, right? Like, because you unlock new stuff, but not every, like, there is no one build, except for probably, I don't know, like double shotguns and like plasma cannons if you know how to cheese the game, right? But
Sure.
but like broken stuff aside, where
you're just like I'm just a normal playthrough kind of guy.
Right. Like there is no one build that suits every mission, which is one of the things that I really like about this game, because it's like, okay, this one you need to be like a big chonkin tank. Otherwise, you're going to just get creamed.
Sure.
But if you bring that same like heavy tank build to the next mission, you're like, I don't have the movement speed. I can't even fly far enough. I'm falling to my death.
Yeah, I did see there's the one where I'm getting a lot of the terminology and whatever, but you have to like, climb up onto this like huge drill or whatever with the laser beam and and if you just like don't have the like flight distance, it's just like such a slog to get.
But when if you put on like the tetrapod legs, that's a fancy way of saying the quad legs.
Oh.
You just fly around and it's so easy. And like that's where I think hardcore gamers are kind of hitting a wall, is like, but I have this build with these weapons and that's it, It is very typical, like, and I am a victim of this as well, of just like, no, I do this a lot with every game. Like if I'm playing any like roguelike-ish kind of game where it's like, this is the build I'm doing on this run. I can't change it. Right.
This is the build I'm doing.
Even if you don't get the stuff you need,
yes.
you need for it. Oh man, Hades was awful for that. Because I'd be like, I'm doing the shield run, and I started off with one blessing that would maybe put me down this build, and then I got none of the follow-up blessings that I needed for it, and I didn't shift the way I was playing at all, and I was surprised to die at the first boss.
Have you ever heard of Super Auto Pets? It's just
auto
battler.
Yes, yeah.
It's fun, cute, simple, but like it's that same kind of thing where you just get a bunch of random animals and they have special abilities, and you'll be like, all right, this is going to be like a summon build, or this is going to be a sniper build, and then like even if I don't get the animals I need, if it's like I'm just going to keep rolling until I find the one. All right, great, I finally got it, and then I just lose. Why did that happen?
That's why I was never good at drafting, right? Because like there's a thing of like figuring out like, okay, when do I abandon my plan?
Never. You can't. That's giving up, and giving up is failing.
Quitters never win. It says that at the beginning of every arcade game.
That's true. And
winners don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Which is patently untrue. Winners do drugs. They do drugs all the time. That's why they win. Look at Lance Armstrong.
Get so many records. Yeah.
Look at Lance Armstrong. He was doing drugs, and he was saying, "Don't do drugs," and it's bad. He still says it's bad to do drugs. My guy, doing drugs got you where you are in the first place.
Yeah. If not for drugs, we would not know who Lance Armstrong was.
It's 100% true. He would have just been a guy who had one ball.
I've been trying for the last couple minutes to figure out a good segue to circle back to this mod I saw that people put armored cores in Elden Ring.
Oh, yes!
And I can't figure out a good segue, so I'm just going to say
People
modded Elden Ring to put armored core in them, and that seems like fun.
It is. It looks... it's wild. Speaking of mods. Okay, so by the time you're watching this video, they'll have probably polished it even more than it is. But there is a mod out for Baldur's Gate 3 that puts in, like, most of the races from like the Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, like the expansions, all the races that aren't in the core game, like aren't officially in there, they get put in there, and it's pretty great. And on top, I mean, it's not, you know.
Can you list off a few?
Yeah. I mean, no, I can't.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I don't want to put you on the spot, even though I just did.
Yeah. They do, Minotaur, right? Minotaur, I know is in there. Okay. That's one I know for sure because I saw a picture and was like, oh. I
played a Minotaur once in a 4th edition campaign.
Yeah.
And I was devoutly worshipping the Raven Queen.
Ooh.
And then, I don't remember the exact circumstances, but I had someone did like a illusion on me, and it was like, if I wanted to be with the Raven Queen, I could go do that. So I did, and I killed myself. Because that's how you be with the Raven Queen.
That's how you be with the Raven Queen.
And then I started a new character, because I was like, well, that's the end of that story, I guess.
Man, 4th edition was a fun time.
4th edition was a fun time. Hey, you should click up in the corner right
here, where we can tell you why 4th edition was better than 5th edition.
Yeah, great segue.
Although, also, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 is making a lot of people play 5th edition, like, for real for the first time.
I believe, like, it's the sort of game where it's... And we talked about this also last episode, but one of the things that I really do appreciate about any kind of D&D game is the wider, broader audience that it brings into the hobby, that it just, like, wouldn't have... Like, Critical Role did absolutely the same thing.
If Critical Role hadn't happened, we might not even be at Baldur's Gate 3.
You know, you are like, probably right.
There's like a line, right? Like... Without that spike, without Critical Role and like Stranger Things, would D&D have blown up the way that it did?
I think there is, in the same sort of way. Have you heard, what is it? If not for 9/11, Ellen DeGeneres wouldn't have been canceled.
Oh, yeah,
because of Gerard Way.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
There's the A to B to C to D to E.
Right, a guy stops in for a sandwich, sees the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and is like, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm gonna go shoot that guy."
It's something like
and then you're in World War I.
Yeah, it's always really interesting.
Please tell, like, don't. Tell me, actually. Let me live in ignorance, okay?
I'm not much of a history guy. You'd have to call up Abe for that.
I just know that Franz Ferdinand has some pretty cool songs.
What's the oh god, it's been I'm keep getting them with Fratellis. I'm getting them confused. This is not important. So another big game coming out lately is Starfield.
Starfield, which is Skyrim in space, and people are sad about that for some reason.
I've not really been paying any attention. Like, the day it came out, I thought it was coming out in October. I was just not paying attention.
It's out right now. It's on PC and Xbox.
The only reason I know it's out is because I saw a TikTok about some streamer spending 7 hours to fly to Pluto. Only to find out that it doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's Skyrim, baby. Yeah. You saw that mountain over there and you thought you could get to it. That was a lie. It was a joke. It was a skybox, and you fell to your death.
Yeah.
And like that, but that's the beauty of a Bethesda game, is that like you feel like you're in this ultimate playground, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I found the walls. But then it's a zany, wacky romper room.
The Bethesda games are really good at that like initial wow factor of presentation, And then if you like really start like pulling back the curtains, you're like, what? There's a backstage?
Yeah, but
I thought I was at a show.
If you never pull back the curtains, it's so much fun to just play around. And if you do pull back the curtains, you're like, oh, wait a minute. If I cut this rope, a sandbag's going to fall on that guy over there.
There's always a lot of ways to like really play around with any kind of RPG like that.
I have yet to play a Bethesda game where, okay, so like the big problem is, for me, and I don't know that I say problem. It's not really a problem. It's just like, it's the place where I bounce off of Bethesda games. Or I don't even bounce off of them, but like they kind of take me out of like the immersion, is that your character never seems, like who you are specifically, never seems to matter outside of like the occasional line of dialogue. Like, you Khajiit, you're, or... Oh, sure. Yeah, we don't like you Imperials around here, right? But, like, you could be the Archmage of the Wizards Guild.
Right. And
you could be the head of the Fighters Guild, and they're just like, oh, what's up? Did somebody steal your sweet roll? Listen, I'm the Thane of fucking Whiterun, all right?
I'm allowed to steal a sweet roll if I want.
Don't you make fun of me.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, that is... to an extent, true in Starfield as well, where it's like but I love, God, the character creation is so fun.
In Starfield?
In Starfield, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you roll up like a character. You get like roll up a background, you get like an event that happened to you. You could be like, I'm a scoundrel or a smuggler. In this one playthrough, I had a character who had a bounty on their head. And I say their head because you can pick your pronouns.
Hey!
But you can do that in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. You can do that in most games. Some people are real mad about the fact that you can pick your pronouns.
I had heard about that in Starfield. I don't remember doing it in Baldur's Gate, but I must have at some point.
Well, you can decide like what your gender is. You can decide like your male, female, or non-binary, and then you can pick your genitals.
I really do not remember any much about the character creator, just because I was so excited to like get into the game. I'm not much of a like spend 30 hours at the character creator kind of person.
I spent like an hour trying to figure out which penis to go with.
There's options. There's a lot more options.
More penises than vulvas to go with, which that's the patriarchy. The patriarchy for you, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But in Starfield, like you can decide all of that stuff. But you also you get like a background event. You have like a quest that you're kind of starting off with that kind of feeds into things. But then it just kind of doesn't really come up, and the main story of the game takes over. And then people have said like the game really opens up once you finish the main storyline. So that's Skyrim, right? I never finished the main storyline of Skyrim. I probably never will.
No, but I never have. I don't even really know what Skyrim is about. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest, I know there's like the gray coats versus the Imperials or something.
Definitely. That's...
I'm close, right?
You are. You've said all adjectives and nouns that are in Skyrim. There are Imperials, there are cloaks, and it's the storm cloaks and the gray beards. So, but also, who can pay attention to that stuff, Like, even when you're living it, you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? I have 70 things to do. My little compass marker thing is full of things, and there's like an orc that's trying to kill me for some reason, and a dragon over there. You got more important things to worry about than what the proper name of the thing that's trying to kill you is.
Every open world game I have ever played, and this might be my tendency to avoid when people tell me what to do, but like I was playing like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, all right, go defeat Ganon. And like, no. I see those big mountain over there. Like, that's weird. And then just go that way. And then, you can get this person needs my help. And then I go this way. And it's just like constantly getting sidetracked. And that's like what I love.
It's like an expanding list of nested parentheses. And you're just kind of closing them. and then getting more, and then closing them. And, like, down here at the very core is the main quest, but there's so much stuff built up around it. It's literally
the last thing I want to, like, in a very literal sense, the last thing I want to do is the main quest, because then the game's over.
I'm not the kind of person who's like, well, I beat the main storyline, I'm going to keep playing the game now. I'm free. I have been released from my obligation. The story holds no power over me anymore, and I can go play another game.
I have not... You just made me realize I have not touched Tears of the Kingdom since I beat it.
Yeah.
And I loved that game. It was great.
That game is so good.
And I still have a lot of well, not a lot. I still have several things I want to do. but I'm never going to do them.
It's nice to be done with things, right? Like, that's the thing. It's nice to be... I played through all of Cyberpunk 2077. I beat well, not all of it. I played through it. I was like... I could go. I'm max level. I can go just finish the storyline. Maybe I can come back and do these side quests later. Nope, didn't come back.
So in the guise of pretending that we stayed on topic for even 5 minutes, are there any other games that are coming out soon?
Phantom Liberty is coming out soon, which is the DLC expansion for Cyberpunk 2077, and is probably the last thing that particular title will ever get, because I think CD Projekt Red is doing another iteration of Cyberpunk, where they kind of take the lessons, they take the game that they wanted to make and actually get to make it, especially now that they've got all that goodwill from Edge Runners. It's look at...
I'm hopefully skeptical.
Look at The Witcher to The Witcher 2, right? Like, or The Witcher 3 also, even.
Sure.
Which is what everyone wanted, but is not what they got.
I heard today that they are not planning on releasing any DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. So that was pretty actually really disappointing for me.
That's pretty final.
But that does mean that theoretically we will be getting another title sooner, and I think a lot of people are sort of, and myself included, are kind of hoping for a classic 2D Zelda return to form kind of thing. Because as much as I do love the open world Zelda, I just want some, like, good dungeon crawling action.
Well, have I got a surprise for you? If you look under your seat, you won't find anything.
No. It's like, I got here before you did. I don't know how you set that one up. I'm trying to think if there's any other games that are, like, coming up soon. But I'm also not much of a, like, buy up all these, like, new AAA games. Like, I'll take the one, play it, and then go on to the next one.
Well, so there's also, like, speaking of non-AAA games, there's also, like, Sea of Stars, which is a loving homage to, like, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and all of those things.
Really?
Yeah. It's just now out. You're welcome. It's on Steam.
Okay.
You can go grab
forget
it.
what I said a second ago.
It's so good. It's so good. And it's... I mean, okay, so it's not that expensive, quotes, because... Vampire Survivor?
Yeah,
the amazing game that's swept the nation.
I was talking about it before everyone else was.
He was. Yeah. I can confirm. That's like $2.
Something like.
And like after that, like buying a game that isn't as satisfying initially, that doesn't have the, like, I can spend 100 hours on this for more than $2 feels like, what am I doing?
It really set the scale for what a game could be priced at.
One of my all-time best friends is like, but it's more than $2. I'm not gonna buy that. It's just like
my threshold for, like, a lot versus a little, I think, is $15.
Oh yeah.
If a game is $15, it's like, yeah, all right, sure, I'll give it a try. If it's like 20, it's like, I don't know. And that's sort of my breaking point, I think.
I have found and discovered that, like, 15 to 20 is about the break point. And, like, once you make the decision to do something past 20, it's like, okay, now I have to have a good time with this.
Yeah.
Or
there's, like, an obligation for fun.
I feel like I have to play it, like, right away to figure out if I like it, because otherwise I am going to refund it. Because I don't have more than $20 to spend all the time,
I just recently got a demaked version of Darkest Dungeon called Tiny Folks on my phone, which, if that sounds... It's got, like, Game Boy graphics. It's very cool, and I bought it, played it for, like, an hour, and then I remembered I hate Darkest Dungeon, so I refunded it.
Yeah.
But I think it was, like, $5, $7 somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And that, like, even at the time, I was like, you know what? It's fine. Just try it. And then...
But that's the thing, right? Like, and it doesn't make it a bad game. It just
No,
means
it is just not for me. No. I mean, people love Darkest Dungeon. I'm too impatient for games like Darkest Dungeon. I just want to, like, throw my party at, the Dragon King, and then when I die, because it's my own fault, I get annoyed, and that's somehow the game's fault.
Which I guess we should go do in the games that we have to play. Thanks for joining us and going on a journey through all the kind of games that are out there and the problems that they cause and solve and create more of all at the same time.
Just like alcohol.
Yeah, just like alcohol. You can easily spend 125 hours on that too.
Yeah, probably shouldn't.
Harder to smash controllers, or easier, depending.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
I've been JR and will be JR again next time.
I'm Matt, and who knows? I don't know what the future holds.
We'll see you all next time. Like, share, and also
subscribe. Oh yeah, do YouTube stuff. Bye.